Hello, YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode of The Grandstand here on the Ohio Patriot Education Network YouTube channel. I'm, as always, your host, AR, the Ohio Patriot, and for today's episode, we're going to talk about how the Ohio GOP shut a bunch of leftist cunts down at the Ohio State House today. They're all Soros Paid Shills. Good. Fuck those fucking people, dude. Fuck Soros. Fuck globalist. Fuck Michael Bloomberg. Fuck MDA. Fuck all these leftist cocksuckers who want to destroy our fucking country from the inside out with their fucking bullshit by killing our fucking kids in the womb, by killing our fucking kids in the classrooms, etc., dude, with gun-free zones and everything else like that. Fuck all you people. Fuck all of you all. You should never have voting rights in this country ever again. Fuck off. And it's really as simple as that. I'm sure YouTube's going to demonetize the shit out of this video because of that, honestly. But not give a fuck anymore, honestly. But no, seriously. So basically, you had several things happen in the State House this afternoon, State Senate too, for that matter. They were basically, I think, going to try to do a House floor vote today on House Joint Resolution 1. So they're trying to pass it out committee today is what it was. I don't believe it actually did get voted on in that 45-minute session that they did today between 2 o'clock and 2:45 or so, which is bullshit, which is absolute bullshit, dude. You could have easily voted on it during that time. You could have done that instead of fucking jerking each other off in the fucking House chambers and being like, we want to recognize this person, and then this person, and then this person, and oh my god, you're fucking so great for everything you've done for Ohio. Except none of them really have anything for Ohio, dude. They're all a bunch of scumbags in most cases. And it's literally scumbags paying off their donors is what it is in that case, dude. And that's why I'm sick and tired of the establishment of everybody at this point, dude. Rhinos and Democrats both entirely, because they're all a bunch of corrupt criminals in this country right now, especially in the state of Ohio. There is no reason why Catherine Ingram, Shane Wilkin, Paula Hicks Hudson, etc. should be in our state senate right now, dude. 2 of the 3, being Ingram and Hicks Hudson, were termed out last year from the state house. They should not have been allowed to run for the state senate, dude. The same thing like Matt Hoffman's going to try to do next year when he's termed out of the state senate trying to jump from the state house is what it is. There is a reason why the will of the people of the state over a decade ago, including voters like myself, put in term limits on you motherfuckers. You have 8 years to get shit done. Get the fuck out after that. Seriously. You want to fucking run for office, dude? Then run for the fucking governorship or Secretary of State or something like that, dude. Other than that, fuck off is what it is. You have 8 years to do this shit. Enough of your career politician bullshit, dude, entirely. We don't want your asses being in fucking our state house, our state senate, etc. for life, dude. And that's exactly why Ohio is one of the most corrupt states in the state or in this country right now. Is because of the fact that you have so many of these fucking people, 20, 30, 40, 50 fucking years or more, dude. Scott Olinger, who I didn't even realize was in office since the day I was fucking born, pretty much. 38 fucking years ago, that asshole started in our state house at the time, dude. He has since, in many general assemblies, flip-flopped the shit, dude. Which didn't have to do it for a long time, actually, because it was not until the early 2000s or so when you actually had them enact term limits in the state house then, and the state senate too, for that matter. And it wasn't until then that asshole was basically a state rep for like fucking almost 20 years at the time that he was like, oh shit, I'm all termed out now. Okay, hey Kirk Shearing, you want to flip from me from the state senate to the state house, and I'll flip to the state senate for you? Okay, cool, let's do that. And they've done that multiple times now, by the way. That's why I was trying to run against Shearing last year for the state senate, but unfortunately I was so suppressed and so censored by social media companies, I was not able to get on the ballot, is what it was. Because I would have definitely primaried out Shearing's ass, dude, and I would have actually been a state senator right now, and been doing stuff the right way is what it is, dude, not a bunch of criminal crap like fucking pay-to-play shit is what it is. Which I guarantee is what Shearing did with the shit last year when he did the whole getting sports betting legal in the state. Meanwhile, at the same time, I was calling up his fucking office day after day after day after day after day, saying, hey, dude, why don't you get off your fucking lazy ass and pass constitutional carry? Not a fucking word, not a fucking peep, dude. Not a word on that, not a peep on that, not a peep on passing better versions of Stand Your Ground, etc. Nope, just let me go do what I want to do because fucking I'm a career politician is what it is. Like I said, I don't just hate Democrats, dude. I hate them all, is what it is. I hate every fucking career piece of shit in this state right now, dude. And what's funny to me is, this is what's funny to me. All these leftists that I've been calling out under the network moniker there on Twitter, you and I agree on something. We need to have recall voting in this state. It's something I've been calling on for over 5 years, jackasses. You want to fucking get shit done? Actually have recall voting across the board, and I guarantee you, not only are a bunch of rhinos going to be fucking recalled out, every single one of your little Democrat buddies, starting with that fucking cunt Allison Russo and that fucking douchebag hate hoaxer Casey Weinstein, are going to be the first two asshole Democrats that are going to be recalled the fuck out of office, dude, and being handcuffed by the time it's all said and done. When we enact deprivation of rights to law as a fucking felony statewide, when we the people start being the ones, the constitutionalists of the state, that take over their fucking seats, dude, in those recall races. So, anyway. And that's exactly why I think some of these people don't want it to happen, is what it is, dude, because they know once it does happen, when you have recall voting like that and stuff, only then are they going to fucking realize that chicken's coming home to roost, motherfuckers. And you done fucked up, A.A. Ron. So, anyway. But nah, seriously, though. So, basically what happened was this morning you had a bunch of Soros paid shills, along with a bunch of Bloomberg paid shills, etc. Most likely all busting the State House this morning about 9, 10 a.m., somewhere in there. You had them have a committee hearing that was chaired by Phil Plummer, one of the state reps right now. That's a Republican. Good dude. I've talked to him a couple of times. And yeah, he's one of the Pro-2A guys in the State House, etc. there. Actually gives a shit about the Constitution. He's one of the few people I actually consider to be in our State House right now that is not a corrupt sack of shit, honestly. I mean, for all I know, he could be behind closed doors, but out in public, he's not, is what it is. So I've never been with, actually do enough research into him to find out that if he's doing like pay to play stuff or not is what it is. But yeah, he's a good dude for 2A votes and, just basically constitutional stuff. I wouldn't call him a constitutionalist by any means, but definitely he does. He's actually an oath keeper is what I would consider him to be at this point, dude. He actually does what he said he's going to do. Swore his oath to office and has kept it since then for the most part. Meanwhile, I cannot say the same about many of these people in there, at least probably 50 plus of them is what it is right now. And that would be all 32 Democrats and then at least 18 rhinos is what it is then. So, anyways, you have Plummer, who said this morning at 9 a.m. when they did the House Joint Resolution stuff there in that committee hearing, and there was roughly about 170 people that were opposed to it, by the way, to amend our Constitution to 60% threshold is what it is, to where you have to have 60% of the voters to actually amend the Constitution then, which is fucking ridiculous to me that it hasn't been that way for decades, honestly, dude. In fact, I would go further than that. I would say 75% of the vote should be what it is right now, dude. Because this is the thing what I see right now, dude. You have these people, these leftist folks in this state right now, the major cities and stuff like that, all these fucking actual terrorist organizations by definition, which, by the way, how the fuck is Mama's Demand Action not a terrorist organization at this point, dude, for literally pushing for gun control and stopping armed people from being armed that are everyday citizens and stuff like that? Meanwhile, we'll sit there and cuck for criminals on a daily basis and have their fucking buddies that they hang out with, like Antifa and BLM, etc., going out there and running the fucking streets in the last couple of days. Specifically down in Akron yesterday, you had a bunch of BLM terrorists in fucking masks walking around with AKs and ARs and stuff like that. And again, why is BLM and Antifa not terrorist organizations in the state of Ohio right now as well? Nationwide, for that matter, on top of that. So, anyway, basically what happened was you had Phil Plummer, who was the committee chair this morning, say at 9 a.m., he's like, yeah, I don't care how many people here testify against this. We're doing this hearing for the next 3 hours until noon. At noon, I'm holding a vote for it. People were all pissy because, our bus got here too late from Cleveland that was paid for by Bloomberg /Soros /ACLU, etc. Why can't we speak against this? I don't know. Maybe actually go down as an individual the day before that, you assholes. And if you want to speak as an individual, speak as an individual. Don't be a fucking Soros paid /Bloomberg paid fucking shill and think they're actually going to listen to your stupid ass. And they're not just going to shut you the fuck down, dude. And this is the problem I have with all these fucking people, dude. All these fucking assholes that are behind these bullshit ass amendments right now are 100% fucking with the will of the people of this constitutional republic. And that is why I cannot stand people like Paula Hicks Hudson, Catherine Ingram, etc., dude, that want to see her keep calling us a democracy. We're not a fucking democracy, you stupid old fucking cunts. We are 100% a constitutional republic, a constitution that you dumb fucking cunts swore an oath to uphold on January 3rd, 2023, and have since broken every fucking day since then. And exactly why their oath-breaking asses should be tossed the fuck out of the Ohio Senate and the fuck out of the Ohio House and be thrown into Ohio State prison right now for the crimes you've committed, for the misdemeanors and the felonies both. Anyway. So yeah, you have these leftists trying to undo the will of the people. The will of the people being, you had Ohio voters, November 2022, decide 67 Republicans into our General Assembly for the State House, plus another 25 Republicans into our State Senate, which there was only half of those up for votes or whatever, but yeah. It was more Republicans than Democrats is what it was there that won those half races is what it was, dude, like the 16 or 17 or whatever it was there. The entire point is, when you have us, the majority in the rural areas, who, by the way, work for a fucking living in most cases on a Wednesday at 9 a.m., which is exactly why these hearings should happen on a Saturday or a Sunday, even for that matter, where people could actually get off of work, and you would see the real will of the people at that point then, dude. Not all your fucking Soros paid shills, etc. that are bust into these fucking places on a Wednesday afternoon because they're all being bought and paid for this fucking asshole George Soros, who's an actual fucking Nazi by definition, who helped kill a shitload of fucking Jews during the Holocaust when he literally outed them to SS soldiers and then stole their fucking farmland and every other wealth that they had to form his own fortune. By the way, that is all admitted shit that George Soros has admitted to on a 60 Minutes interview like a decade and a half ago. I was interested in that one. So yeah, you have those fuckers at the ACLU who are bought and paid for by that douchebag Soros. You have the fucking people who are bust in by either Soros orgs or by the ACLU itself as a secondary org is what it was. Basically, they couldn't even muster 200 people is what it was, dude. That is how fucking ridiculous these people are is what it is, dude. That you couldn't even crack 200 to testify against this stuff. Instead, you had to have 170 dipshits that were all like, yeah, I can totally show up on a Wednesday. How much am I getting paid to do that? Oh, this much money an hour to be there? Okay, cool. And that's what they do, man. They just cut them checks and stuff. It's the same thing like Soros funding BLM and Antifa both, for that matter, years ago. You know, he would just cut them a big check is what it was every month or so, or they did terrorist rioting and shit like that, dude. So, anyway, and the fact that every single fucking asset of George Soros has not been seized at this point in this country's history is absolutely ridiculous, dude, because again, it should all be seized, and it should be seized not only his personal wealth and shit like that, it should be any organizations that have direct ties to him, whether it be the ACLU, etc., dude, that should be fucking having their funds freeze and seize at this point. So, anywho, going back to what I was saying, though, you have Plummer basically say, 9 a.m., we're doing this till 12, and then at 12 o'clock, he's like, yeah, we're doing the vote now. And people were all butthurt about it. Then meanwhile, at some other part of the state house, you had the whole, what I was talking about, one of the other grandstands here in the last couple of days, where it was all these douchebags at Our Columbus and stuff like that, who were trying to basically form their little terrorist mob of fucking leftists, which I guarantee were some of the same people who were actually breaking the State House windows 3 years ago in the summer of riots in 2020 there. You had them show up and do all kinds of degenerate shit, dude, and basically just show why they should not have voting rights in this state ever again or this country ever again, because it should be in nut houses where they belong is what it is, man. And I'm actually going to see if I can find that particular post there of just these psycho-ass motherfuckers where they were at there. Sorry, I was reading something here. But yeah, these were apparently a bunch of the nuts that were responding to the Our Columbus post there about going down there and testifying against the stuff. By the way, it was like 30-something degrees in Ohio today, yet you had the one guy there in like a half shirt and like little booty shorts and stuff, dude. And it's like, Jesus Christ, dude, talk about not wearing appropriate clothing for the time and the weather and stuff. But yeah, again, you had like a couple dozen people that were there to testify again, or testify for men and women's sports is what it really is, dude. And I'm pretty sure actually the one over there in the corner talking to the person right by the pillar, I think that might be Allison Russo or Rachel Baker, which would be one of our state reps from the Democrats in the state house then. So, and then, yeah, you got all these other degenerates here fuck still wears masks in 2023, by the way? Oh, yeah, that's right. Antifa terrorists who don't want to be identifiable. That's who. Then you got 1, 2, at least 3 of these idiots. They're there. So, yeah. And of course, they were rambling on about, like, oh, this is bullshit that we can't have our chance to testify against fucking not having our men in the women's sports and stuff like that. And it's just like, shut up, children. Seriously. Like, shut up, man. So, anyway, somebody was asking me about Maj Turi and some stuff here. So, for those that haven't seen that, actually, I'm going to talk about that from right here. So, I guess Maj Turi put out a thing here in the last couple of days about, I think it was yesterday actually, where he was talking. He was replying to some woman, that someone was responding back to him, was what it was, and she was discussing about like rural areas and people shooting, potential criminals and stuff like that. They're trespassing on their property and shit. And I'm not sure if this was over the one in Kansas City, Missouri, where it was the old man and the young teenager that was like over 6 feet tall, is what it was. When I say young teenager, I mean the kid's like 16 or whatever. Or it was the one in upstate New York there, which, by the way, that one's already basically been proven that it's going to be that dude catching charges, because pretty much everybody said that the guy that killed that woman in that case had a short fuse and was always bitching about trespassers on his property and stuff like that. So that dude's definitely going to prison in New York State. There's what it is then. That being said, the old guy, you're 84 years old. You're blind in one eye. It's 10 plus o'clock at night, I think is what it was. 10:15, something like that at night. Dark outside, obviously. And you got some dude trying to yank at your outside fucking screen door. And it's like, yeah, pretty sure you're not going to have somebody coming to your house at that time that's not going to be calling you first, is what it is. And I would say that guy's 100% justified, and that's why I think Maj is wrong if he's talking about that one, is what it is. So, but yeah. And I would do want to point something out, though, because I know it was Roland Tripp that said it in the Discord there. I'm not a wannabe politician, dude. I never will be a wannabe politician. I will be a civil servant if I get into office, is what it is. Because unlike most actual people that want to call themselves politicians, I am not that thing, because I actually respect the fucking Constitution and will abide by it as an oath keeper in office. That's the big difference between a civil servant and a politician, by the way. Politicians will call themselves politicians and be some of the biggest oath-breaking scumbags in this country. Oath-keeping civil servants will get into office, do their job for a few years, and then get out of politics, is what it is, which is what I plan on doing, honestly. So, anyway. But, yeah, I've talked to a lot of people, by the way. Most of them are other minorities and stuff like that. And almost all of them said Maj is a piece of shit, basically. Like, the guy is just all about, like, black supremacy is what it is, dude. Which, if you look at, like, half his Twitter posts, would actually explain that is what it is. So, or at least he wants to play the race card every chance he gets, is what it is then. But, yeah. He is, I don't know. Like, I could really care less, honestly. But, like, if you're going to do shit like that, just admit what you are, man, is what it is. So, but, of course, he doesn't want to do that, so. Anywho, but yeah, so going back to what I was saying, though, you had the banning dudes in women's sports and will claim to be transgender is what it is. And you basically had that, as far as I'm aware, pass out of committee then. So that'll be getting a vote here at some point on the floor, probably in the next few days to a week or so then. And obviously you had the other one, which was the House Joint Resolution 1, which hopefully they can get done here pretty quick and do a floor vote come like Thursday or Friday maybe. And then we'd actually have almost immediately could go to the state Senate then and go over there and do their stuff over that side. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, because they basically amended Senate Joint Resolution number 2 in the state of Ohio to now basically be a copy and paste version of House Joint Resolution 1. It doesn't really matter which one passes, because they could essentially just slap them both together as one bill then. And all you'd have to do at the same time would basically be having like the other one pass through like the committees and stuff like that over in the Senate, which I think they're already doing now. So essentially what would happen is you could basically have House Joint Resolution 1 get a floor vote in the House, and you could have Senate Joint Resolution 2 get a Senate floor vote. both pass out of their respective chambers and then essentially be combined together as like one thing, and either just have it basically flipped back and forth in like a 30-minute or so hearing and stuff, to where it would just be like, okay, we're going to vote on this, pass it, done, flip it back over to the other chamber, vote on it, pass it, done. Now onto DeWine's desk is what it'll be then. And what's funny to me is you had people basically bitching and moaning about like, oh, the Republicans don't have the 60 votes necessary for this yet. By the way, 60 is the magical number in Ohio where you'd actually have a veto-proof majority. A veto-proof majority is not needed when the governor is actually on board with having the 60% threshold for amending our state constitution. All they would need is a 50-50 vote hold right now. So it would only take 50 people out of 99 voting yes on it, and it would vote out of the state house immediately is what it would be then. So same thing with the state senate. You only need, I believe it is 17 to vote yes on it out of 33. By the way, they have 25 seats. So yeah, it doesn't take a fucking rocket scientist to figure it out, man. But yeah, it is what it is. But anyways, yeah. My thing is, though, and again, going back to what was actually, so now that we finished up with that stuff, I'm going to talk more about the Mosh Jury thing here. So basically what was said was, and I'm going to point this out, what Mosh was talking about. I'm actually going to go ahead and I'll do some screen grabs of the actual thing here, because I want to discuss exactly what I was talking about here. Oh, by the way, as of this morning, about 11:30, 12 o'clock, somewhere in there, you had Nebraska General Assembly, which is the unicameral thing where they have their state senate and state house as one body is what it is. They had the third hearing on their constitutional carry bill, which has now been passed out of the chamber and is on to the governor's desk now. So pretty much Nebraska will be 27 no matter what, as long as the governor signs off in the next couple of days. Now it's simply time for South Carolina to be number 28 and get theirs through their state senate right now, whatever's holding it up, and get it done then. Okay, so basically what happened was you had, going back to what I was saying here, you had this Angela woman saying, I'm not sure what started the conversation. This is where the original tweet that I saw from Mosh responding back to her is what it was. So you had her saying the following here in a response to Mosh. So I'm guessing this was obviously like a longer thread or whatever. I'm just going to go where I have it here is what it is. So you have her saying, I don't think you understand. She was responding back to Mosh Jury here. Okay, I was right. Okay. So this was not the one with the dude in Kansas City, Missouri. This is the guy who actually is just a nut and killed that woman there who was in her vehicle. But yes, Angela Woman said, don't think you understand rural living. People who live where there are no police, there is no rescue, no one to call. You're on your own, so you have to make quick decisions. And what Maj was saying back to her was, because I was thinking this was the other one, by the way, because there's this problem. There's so many of them going on anymore, dude. So Maj was basically saying back to that woman, he said, dumbass take, living rural doesn't justify horrible firearms handling or bad shoots. Gun ownership means responsibility and accountability. IDGAF, whatever the fuck that stands for. I don't know. I would love to know what that even. I'm gonna have to look that up, dude, because I have no fucking clue what the hell even stands for as a thing. Yeah, ID, what the hell? I gotta look up what that even means. Yeah, what does this mean? Meaning for that? Oh, I don't give a fuck. Okay, that sounds about right coming from Maj Jury, honestly, dude. Yeah, so I'll go fuck how far the cops are. You responsible for your actions with a firearm. Stop trying to make excuses for horrible gun owners. So this is the problem right now, right? And this is why I said I wonder if Maj has ever had a self-defense encounter himself, if that be the case. Because I almost did, actually. It happened about 21 months ago. It was July of 2021. I had left the house for that day to go hang out with family in another part of Ohio. Came home and found my back door kicked in. Found one of my rifles stolen. And I almost didn't leave the house that day because I had a bad issue with my leg where it was like my sciatic nerve and stuff like that was all fucked up. And I was having trouble walking, and I was like, I think I might stay home today. And my mom was like, no, just come on with us. Just take, you're not going to see your cousins for very much longer until they're a little bit more grown up and stuff like that, because it's going to be a couple of years since they're going back to Africa to do missionary work and stuff. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I probably should just go hang out with them and stuff like that. And so I did. And yeah, if I had been here, it probably would have been a self-defense encounter, dude. It most likely would have been me shooting 2 people in self-defense would have been that breaking my home at the time. Now, granted, that being said, now knowing that that's what it was about the other one there in upstate New York, I will agree with Maj on that one. Yes, that was a bad shoot. I believe that too as well. The big difference is, though, in my particular case, I would have been a good shoot, honestly, dude, because it would have been 2 criminals breaking into my home then. That being said, for him to say about people clowning for bad gunners or something like that, dude, it's like, okay, so are you going to call out every single time a gangbanger does some criminal shit, Maj? Or are you going to call out every single time Antifa and BLM walk out in the street and hold guns on people's vehicles and stuff like that during 2020 rioting? I don't believe you ever said a word about that, dude. Which has happened multiple times, by the way. I remember there was one. It was a dude in, I want to say it was like leopard skin pants or something. And I want to say Indiana back in 2020. He was one of these Antifa motherfuckers. He had the mask on his face and stuff like that. Pulls a handgun out of his like waistband or pants or whatever. It was a white guy, obviously. Fucking racks around in the chamber and basically holds this gun on a dude in a truck. And meanwhile, him and a bunch of his buddies there were all blocking traffic illegally in that city that it was happening in Indiana there, which I think it was Indianapolis, but I'm not sure about that one. It might have been one of the other major cities in Indiana though. But the entire point is though, it's like, if you're going to call out New York for being the bad shoot that is, which I will agree with you on that one, are you also going to call out these other ones where it's, criminals doing criminal shit? I don't even know if Maj made a statement when it came to Kyle Rittenhouse's self-defense encounter, dude. In fact, I think he actually basically clowned out against Rittenhouse, if I'm not mistaken. So, I don't know. It's hard to say, man. But like I said, the real issue becomes that you're talking about a guy who does race-based firearms education and stuff like that, being Maj Touré. And people wonder why the guy comes off as a fucking clown then. In most cases, like people to me is what it is, dude. And that's really why it is, man. So I will agree with you though that New York one is a bad shoot entirely, and it's already basically been proven that guy. There's no way that guy's not going to be charged with capital murder. There is what it is, because even when you have the neighbors being like, "Yeah, that guy was a narcissistic nut job" and stuff like that, 100%, there's no way that guy's not being basically in life in New York City is what it is there, or not New York City, but New York State is what it is there. Because obviously he couldn't get the death penalty in New York State anymore because, shocker, people like Andrew Cuomo when they were governor did away with the death penalty in New York State is what it was. So you can basically do life imprisonment there in New York now. And I'm guaranteeing that's what the guy's going to get then. But yeah, it's interesting though, man. But that's the thing though, right? And yeah, there is a time and place where it's like, if you are living in a rural area and stuff like that, dude, the cops are going to be at least a good 20 minutes or longer away is what it is, man. I mean, shit, like even going back to my time where I was robbed that day, I call up the fucking Stark County Sheriff's Office here and I'm like, hey, house has been robbed. Like, yeah, I need the police out here now. I was sitting there for over a half hour waiting for these people with a holstered handgun on my side the entire time, making sure that nobody's going to come back and do anything else. I literally live in a fucking crime scene for the rest of my life in this house now. Like, do people not understand that? Like, it's very hard to know that, man. So, anyway. It is what it is. But yeah, I could totally see Maj, though, saying the same exact thing, though, about the one there in Kansas City and stuff like that. That's why I kind of thought that's what it was. Because I wasn't thinking that there was 2 different ones that happened in this past couple of days. What it was when it came to people getting shot, and then one of them was actually killed, is what it was. So that's the problem with so much of this shit happening in so little time period is what it is. You have basically so many people doing like insane shit then, and it's like, I'm not sure which story you're talking about unless you actually, go further up and like see the actual thing is what I'm talking about. What it was, because that's what it was. I didn't see that part of it. I just saw, Maj's response one this morning, and that's when I made my take. So that was me. I'll give it to him. That was me, not doing enough research into the subject and stuff like that, and realizing exactly what story you're talking about. So, but that being said, I still think Mosh is a piece of shit is what it is, dude, because he's just an asshole is what it is. He comes off as an asshole is what it is. So he wants to make it about race every single time he gets, and that's the thing, dude. When you look at this shit from all perspectives of everything, dude, it's the same exact shit Democrats love to do is what it is, man. It's exactly what people like Amelia Sykes did last year when we were passing constitutional carry here in Ohio. She was trying to make it about race and be like, oh, what about all the black people this is going to get killed? And it's like, you have no proof that that's going to happen, bitch. You're just a lying sack of shit, Amelia Sykes. And you little cheated your way back into fucking Congress then. Through massive voter fraud. And if Frank LaRosa's Secretary of State actually looked into your fucking cheat, he would 100% be able to fucking audit the election and do so. So, anyway. But yeah, I can't stand the shit like that, dude. And it's just very irritating. But yeah, I will say this. It was my bad. I was thinking it was a different story they were talking about. And because I was thinking that one was a little bit more rural as well, but I guess I was wrong about that. Now I'm thinking about it because that was more in like I think it was more of a suburban area or whatever. So, but yeah, needless to say, shit's getting crazy. You need to be armed, dude, because nothing else, like every chance that stuff's going to happen is what it is. And yeah, things are definitely going to be popping off, and you're going to have a lot of crazy shit happen and stuff there. By the way, this was a pretty disgusting story that I want to point out right now. So, this is exactly why we need to close our borders immediately in this country, dude. And why we need to build a wall with a shitload of fucking artillery around it is what it is. So you had this Ollie London person talking about how there was a young girl found at the U.S.-Mexico border that had 67 different traces of DNA. You can read what it says there. Meaning she had been assaulted by 67 different dudes while crossing the U.S.-Mexican border. Like, what the fuck, dude? What the fuck? And this is the problem when you allow these unaccompanied minors into being able to be trafficked into our country is what it is. You literally have people who are these different coyotes and stuff like that that are going to continue to do criminal shit like that, man. And molest these children, molest these innocent youth is what it is. And completely destroy these kids' lives forever. And they're never going to be able to come back from that, man. They just never will. And it's the same thing happening here in Ohio, man. You had that little 10-year-old girl who her guardian at the time, which I'm pretty sure was an illegal alien in this country, faking to be her mother. You had that piece of shit woman being in a relationship with a dude who literally molested this little girl and got her impregnated to where they had to flee Ohio to go to Indiana, even though she would have been qualified under Ohio law to get an abortion done here because it would have been immediate circumstances, stuff like that, emergency circumstance kind of stuff like that. And you had these piece of shit Planned Parenthood doctors go out there and try to make light of it or whatever the case be and be like, oh, Ohio law is so fucked it wouldn't allow us to happen. It's like, no, it wouldn't. No, it wouldn't have, dude. We would have 100% allowed that girl to get that happen, to have that be a choice for her to do, because it would have been covered under a heartbeat bill is what it is. And yeah, they basically covered up the shit. And not only did she cover that doctor covered up, it was also a bunch of fucking cops and stuff, dude, that made push reports and stuff like that. And as far as I'm aware, that guy that was the dude who did that, molested that child, that motherfucker actually got charged in the state, but didn't get charged with the death penalty is what it was, dude. He should have been. So yeah, it's just fucked up in general. And like I said, I'm pretty sick and tired of all of it, man. Really, 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 really sick and tired of all of it. And just, when is enough is what it is, man. Speaking of when is enough, today marks the 30th anniversary of the Waco tragedy, where you had a bunch of people murdered in cold blood by our government. And yet, when you have the ATF still existing 30 years later, it's fucking ridiculous. Meanwhile, you had the Oklahoma City bombing happen 28 years ago in response to the ATF murders there. And then as of tomorrow, we will see the 24th anniversary of Columbine. And I guarantee you, if they haven't done it already, you're going to have that motherfucker Jared Polis wait until tomorrow to sign a bunch of gun control there in Colorado and be like, we're never going to have another Columbine here again, and that's why I'm signing in all these anti-gun bills right now. That would do nothing to stop these things, by the way, because criminals are going to criminal, dude. And that's the problem. If you want to stop the criminals, you have to be hard on crime. You can't be a soft pussy when it comes to being on crime stuff, dude. You can't let fucking terrorist organizations like BLM, Antifa, etc. roll the fucking streets and roll the fucking roofs of the political parties and stuff like that to be able to allow gun-free zones to continue in this country, man. It is time to repeal gun-free zones across the fucking board, especially in school zones, and allow for armed teachers, armed staffers, armed coaches, armed military vets that want to do their job there is what it is, dude, and be the people that would be, the security for these states and these cities and stuff like that, and these different school districts and stuff, to be able to do that then. And if we could actually have that be a real good thing, then we would actually have a better country entirely. And that's what comes from the being at the end of the day. But yeah, it is what it is. Until that happens, I think we're going to change what it is, man. Until we start auditing elections and prove voter fraud's been happening for decades now, nothing's ever really going to change. So, I don't know what it's going to take for that to happen. Probably a civil war, probably a revolution again. Who knows? Balkanization event, maybe. I feel like we're on the verge of all of them at this point. Combined into one is what it would be then. So only a matter of time before that actually happens. All I can say right now is be ready, because the way people are talking now, we're pretty much weeks away from a collapse in this country right now. And I would not be surprised in the least to see by summertime a Great Depression event starting to happen then. So not good, man. Not good. Especially if you talk about what's going on there currently with everything. It is definitely going to be a clusterfuck when it's all said and done. And when we have the ability to be able to do things correctly, we are definitely going to be in a bad situation very soon here. So anyway, that's pretty much where we're at for the day. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode, and I will see you all in the next one.